this video is going to be for the Royal College of Physicians for their This Doctor Can campaign. My name is Dr. Baptiste and I'm a portfolio GP. So this means that in addition to my clinical work as a GP, I have a number of other careers and interests. I always wanted to be a doctor ever since I can remember, so I'd probably say about 4 years old. And everything I did from that point on was geared up to being a doctor, and I was literally obsessed with being a doctor. So I went to comprehensive school, and although there weren't many opportunities, I had a few good teachers and I had a very supportive family which enabled me to pursue my dream. I studied at UCL and I graduated during the year 2013, and then I started working as a doctor. Now, the medical degree was very good. It was challenging, but I still had a really good time at UCL and I often miss it. So I started working as a doctor into the big wide world, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. Although I had been on the wards as a medical student and I had shadowed doctors and I had work experience before getting into medical school, there were so many things that I didn't really understand. So I worked a couple of years in the NHS as a foundation doctor, FY1 and FY2, and then I decided to take some time out of training. It was at this point, coming up to the end of my second year as a doctor, that I felt disillusioned. I thought, have I made a mistake choosing this career? I was burnt out, I was doing long hours, and I wasn't seeing my family as much as I wanted to. Long story short, I did a number of things during my year out which made me realise that actually I still want to be a doctor. And I decided to return to training, and I applied to the GP training program, and now here I am as a GP. I really enjoy my career as a GP. So what inspired me to become a doctor? Well, there are a number of different things. The first thing was that I loved learning. I really enjoyed the idea of acquiring all that knowledge and using it to help other people. I also saw a number of opportunities within medicine, like teaching and traveling, and I thought it was a really good career to match my personality. So I suppose there were a few struggles along the way. One could be the amount of information that you have to learn at medical school. The second could be trying to adapt and start working as a junior doctor. I suppose the main struggle I faced was deciding whether I should continue on as a doctor or whether I should leave. During my year out of training, I applied to be a medical writer, and I was offered a job at a medical communications company. However, I turned the job down because I just didn't feel it was the right fit or the right thing to do at the time. So for me, that was the main struggle, feeling lost, feeling like I had made a huge mistake. But I overcame this because I did some soul searching and I looked at the reasons as to why I'd chosen medicine. And I realised that ultimately I wanted to be a doctor. That passion hadn't disappeared. For me, it was the system, it was the NHS, it was the staffing, the lack of staffing, it was the system pressures that made me feel the way I was feeling. And so by choosing general practice, it enabled me to still be a doctor and to tweak things and to do things the way that I wanted to do them, so to speak. In terms of advice I would give to other people, maybe in similar situations, it would be make sure that you don't lose yourself. Before I became Dr. Baptiste, I was Patrice. I had loads of different interests and things I enjoyed doing. And so sometimes as a doctor, you can become institutionalized and you can become lost in a medical bubble. So it's really important to remember who you are, why you chose medicine. Sometimes as a doctor, we want to help other people so much that we forget about ourselves. And how can we truly help others if we don't look after ourselves? So that would be some of my advice.